I remember my dad warning me, telling me to stay away from certain places, to not go there after dark because things could happen to you, things that would change your life forever. He was just trying to protect me. He didn't know how right he actually was. It was a few days before my 14th birthday. I was spending the weekend at my friend Harry's place in a small town called Oakhaven. It was only about 30 minutes away from my house, but it might as well have been miles. The streets were empty, the houses were old, the atmosphere was bleak. It was nothing like my lively middle-class neighborhood. Harry lived with his parents and two younger sisters in a drafty old Victorian mansion at the end of a long driveway. From the road, the house looked abandoned. Its gray paint was chipped and peeling. Many of the windows were covered with plywood, and the lawn was overrun with weeds. But inside, it was different. Rooms were spacious, the fireplaces were huge, and there was stuff everywhere. Not clutter, exactly. More like relics from another time. It was strange. I don't know how to describe it, but I got the feeling that the house had been holding on to these things since the early 1900s. I can remember looking at a dusty globe in the living room that was dated 1897, and I also recall staring at a framed photo of a woman wearing a floor-length velvet gown. She must have been related to the family somehow. I never found out. Most of the time I spent at Harry's house, I explored the vast attic by myself. There was a bit of everything up there, from vintage suitcases and paintings to antique furniture and weapons. I found a rusted sword and held it above my head like a barbarian. I also found what appeared to be an original copy of Dracula, a book with a leather cover and gold leaf. Of course, I read it. What else was I going to do? The story of Dracula was one of my favorite books as a kid. I probably read it close to 100 times. So even though I was familiar with every word, I read it again anyway, as if I was going to find something new. But maybe I did. I don't know. Maybe it was just the setting, or the fact that I was reading it alone in the pitch-black attic of an ancient house. But while I was reading, I got the creepy feeling that something was sharing the space with me. At first it was faint, like a breeze against my neck, or a shadow that flashed across the slanted ceiling. But then it grew stronger. It was always right behind me, watching me, breathing down my neck, sending shivers down my spine. I could feel it studying me. I told Harry about it the next day at school, and he laughed. He said the attic always did that to people. I should have known better than to take him seriously. But later that night I called him up and asked him to come over and read the book with me. I didn't want to be brave alone. But when he arrived, the same thing happened. We both agreed that the attic was spooky, but neither of us admitted that we were scared. That was until 3 days later when I decided to return to the attic by myself. I don't know what I was thinking. Harry's parents weren't home at the time, so I figured I'd get away with it. But halfway up the creaky attic stairs, I heard a loud crash. And I don't mean like something falling over. The sound was definitely human. Someone had fallen onto the wooden floor from the top of the ladder. I froze. My mind screamed at me to run, to hide, to pretend I wasn't here. But my body wouldn't move. It was stuck. Da-da-da-da-da. And then the sound of footsteps on the stairs. Slow and deliberate. 1, 2, 3 steps at a time. They were coming closer. Whoever was making those sounds was getting closer. I couldn't move. I tried to turn and run, but my legs wouldn't respond. I was locked in place. And as I stared at the staircase, a figure emerged from the darkness. Tall, gaunt, unshaven, with sunken eyes and matted hair. His clothes were filthy. His skin was clammy and pale. His hands were shaking like he had Parkinson's disease. And then he smiled, this crazy grin that revealed yellow teeth. But it was his eyes that disturbed me the most. They were blank. They were vacant. They were soulless. He took a step closer. "Hello," he whispered, his voice raspy. I couldn't speak. I couldn't look away. I couldn't blink. I stood frozen as he approached. "You shouldn't be up here," he said. His lips barely moved. He seemed to be reading my thoughts. "You're not supposed to be here," he continued. Each word was carefully selected, deliberate, painstakingly slow. And then he reached out a hand and touched my shoulder. I flinched and managed to say, "Who are you?" He ignored me and asked, "How long have you been up here?" I stammered. "A few hours. Alone," he added. "Were you scared?" "What? Were you scared?" he repeated. I nodded, unable to speak. "Good," he said, and with that he vanished. I spun around to find him, but he was gone. No trace of him remained. I called out to him, but he never returned. I searched the entire attic for him, every nook, cranny, and hiding hole, but he was nowhere to be found. When I finally came downstairs, Harry's mom was in the kitchen. She looked tired and harried, like she hadn't slept in weeks. She asked me what I was doing there, if I had seen her husband or one of her daughters. I told her I hadn't, and asked if she had seen that guy, the one who had just been up in the attic. She looked at me strangely and said, "What guy?" "The guy who lives in the attic," I said. "There's no one up there but birds," she replied, her eyes fixed on the counter. "And spiders." "Spiders," I echoed. Was I losing my mind? What? Had I imagined the whole thing? Did I make the guy up because I was reading Dracula? But when I told Harry what happened, he said I had opened the wrong door. The same door in the attic that led to another place, a different time. He explained that there was an old myth about the house, that it was haunted by a spirit who lured children up into the attic and trapped them forever. The spirit used their fear to feed itself, and if you stayed too long in the attic, you ran the risk of being trapped yourself. I thought he was full of it, but now I wasn't so sure. We returned to the attic together the following day to confront whatever was up there. But when we reached the top of the stairs, we were met with a sight that made our jaws drop. The door was locked, as if someone had barricaded themselves inside, with all that dusty, cobwebbed furniture in there who would lock themselves in the attic. Harry's mom was standing in the doorway, pale and shaken. "Did you guys see that?" I asked. "See what?" "Someone locked the door. I swear it was open yesterday." "I know," she replied, her voice trembling. "But now it's locked. We're trapped." And then the air grew frigid, ice cold. All the hairs on my arms and neck stood on end, and we knew we weren't alone. We started to scream for help, but our voices echoed and faded into the gloom. It was like we were trapped inside a tomb, and as we stumbled around in the pitch-black attic, desperately searching for a way out, we realized we had opened the wrong door. Hi, everyone, I'm here. I hope you enjoyed that story. If you did, please remember to leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and tap the bell icon so you never miss an upload. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.